welcome back to Growing Gourmet Mushrooms in my workshop. And in a previous video, I had a quick overview of Home Assistant, why I'm using it. And I'm going to move on now to this little section here. This is the first part of the customization that I created to handle the environmentals in my mushroom fruiting tent. So here we have, if we remember back in previous videos, inside the tent we have a sensor down here, and this is constantly providing Home Assistant with temperature, CO2, and our relative humidity levels. And you can see that here. CO2 level, humidity level, temperature, and you'll see them update every so often as things change. Right now we're at 538 parts per million, the CO2. I've got very high humidity right now because I'm playing around with humidity levels in the tent, trying to get some mushrooms to start pinning. Normally this would be quite a lot lower than this, but it's a very, very humid day anyway. And our temperature right now is at 18.4 degrees Celsius. Below this sensor section, we have switches to turn various bits and pieces on and off within the workshop. There's our fan switch. I can just flick that fan on, and the fans will now turn on. Turn it off, and they go off. Same with the light switch. Turn the light off, turn the light on. The humidifier switch, and I also have a booster within the tent. Now, I'll just go into this very briefly. We have a homemade humidifier here, so that the air blows in onto a pond fogger within this cooler and then blows up into the tent, so we get nice moist air going into the hydroponics tent. Sometimes when the outside humidity level drops below 40%, somewhere around in that range, the 5-disc fogger that I have within this cooler can't keep up. It can't moisturize the air enough. So what I did was I took a second humidifier, one of those little portable floor models, and put it inside the tent. So on the days that this humidifier has been turned on for a long, long time, say over 10 minutes, and it's not able to keep up, then I will turn on this little booster within the tent to give it that extra oomph for the humidity in order to get it up above 80-90%, whatever I have set for it. So that's why we have a humidifier switch and a humidifier booster switch. The light switch comes on and off 6 o'clock every day. So 6 o'clock at night turns off, 6 o'clock in the morning turns on. And we have a damper switch. Now, I didn't get into this in previous videos, but if we go back to our air exchanger here, this is the heat recapturing device. As I said in the previous video, here's our intake pipe. It goes into the air exchanger. Now, when the fan is not on, there's a little electric switch. You can see it's connected, plugged in here to this little box. When you power that on, a little plug moves away from this pipe and allows the air to come in. It's something that's built into this air exchanger. And conversely, it will plug up the hole when the fan is not on, so that air cannot blow in and into my tent from the outside on a very, very windy day. We're in Canada, we're up on the top of a hill, we can get 140 kilometer an hour winds sometimes here during the winter. And if I didn't have this set up, the air would literally be blowing straight into the tent and cooling it off and bringing dry air in, and it just doesn't work very well. So if you recall in the first video, there's a one-way valve here for the outtake, so that the air can only go out one way. If the wind tries to blow in, it'll just close this valve off and won't come into the tent. Conversely, this intake valve, the intake pipe, obviously air has to come in here. So I needed a way to block off that air when the fans weren't on. So that's why we have a little plug here that moves over and plugs up that hole. And that is in this little section here, the air exchanger. This is the intake pipe that comes in, and the plug will come in and plug that off when the fans aren't on. So that's why we have this damper switch here. Now I have it automated, so when I turn on the fan, the damper turns off, and when I turn off the fan, damper turns back on again. That's just automatic. I don't really need the switch here. I could just have it fully automated without actually showing it here, but it's a good visual confirmation that the automation's working properly. I'm never really going to turn this off and on manually, because there's no need to. It's already automatic, but I like to be able to see that the automation's working properly, so that when I do turn the fan on, I know that the damper switch is turned off, and vice versa. So that's why I have it built in here. That's all I'm going to do on this video for this section. We're going to move on to this next one on the next video, and hopefully you're interested, and we'll see you shortly. Bye.